when you go to international organizations, they will willingly borrow you money. But what happens is that they will be calculating what is called interest. So every time, the longer the money stays in your hand, there is interest that is accruing to that money. So if I give you 10 naira, I'll tell you that for every day that this 10 naira stays with you, you're paying 1 naira extra. So when you're not going to pay me this money till after 10 years, I'll give you moratorium. But before that 10 years, every interest that accrues to that is what you pay. But the main money is there. You understand? So that is what government does. When government borrows, the interest that is accruing is what they are paying and it's called debt service. But the main money is there. Budget report, the last budget report I saw as of 2023, that our debt, our loan debt for Kanasi was 600 billion naira. So now never talk of paying it. Yeah. Now what we are paying, that's 17 billion is the interest. So if you divide that 70 billion in 12 months, that's what we'll be paying. Every month we'll be paying 0. And this is subject to Naira respecting itself.
So what of the money like?
Exactly.
What if you have 600 million at one going to pay?
And you can't pay. Then we'll see where you get. Because even Kaduna State budget there is 790, about 200 billion is still borrowed. So you don't even have, and even that, you move the borrowing itself and dash. Even the main revenue targets, apart from the one maybe that come from the statistics, so even our budget are good. So it means that you carry all the money you want to use for the development for that one. Then the average man will send. You will come up protest because you can't pay salary. You can't do, and if you don't pay salary, people will not go to the market. And people selling in the market will not make income. So the whole economy will not go to the down. Yes, sir.
So I feel like this is an idea that was carved out to keep poor countries indebted. Because there's no way you can borrow money and then you give me a particular time and then your interest keeps accumulating. You understand? I feel like it's more like a broad day. There's no way you can pay this money back.
So let's do a small exercise. Let's do a small exercise. Enter Google or any of the AI platform. Carry your phone. Carry your phone. Enter either Google or any search engine. Search as at 2024, what is the debt of the United States of America?
That's almost 20 trillion, sir.
Yes, sir.
60 trillion. He doesn't have to pay his debt because it's in his own currency.
Yeah.
And there's a concept called Federal Reserve Revenue Bank. If the Federal Reserve needs more money to spend, they print more than what they have. So they do not really have to pay that money. Yeah. But unlike we have to pay. We have to pay.
Yeah, people feel like it's a kind of aid to attract other countries that follow their footsteps to actually follow. Why they are not actually paying back, but other countries they are being exploited.
Yes. So we are having the conversation I did not want us to have on camera.
And I'm
go
on camera.
Yes, sir. I have 34 trillion.
Yes.
34 trillion.
Yes.
All right. So they made very valid points, but I don't want us to go into these valid points that we made. But just to show that the system generally is designed and conditioned to be borrowing driven. Debt driven, right? And one of the things is that check how much has America borrowed from Saudi Arabia. Total borrowing.
Also, Chilamo are going from Nigeria.
Record is one.
7.9
7.9
trillion.
trillion. So they are also borrowing from other countries.
You know what's going on?
So, but you know what the whole challenge with borrowing and loans is when you're a productive country, borrowing is not an issue. But when you're a consuming nation, borrowing becomes slavery. You understand? Because number one, your currency is not competitive enough and all of that. So it's a perpetual. What you have said is actually what it is.
So I'm wondering now, when is the actual time to pay back? How do we go about it?
You go and look for debt forgiveness. The way also passing law of that for debt forgiveness. So there are certain debt that unless the current financial system is structured, continue to do it is. And this is because there is what is called imperialism. The fact of the word imperialism. So it is still what is happening till date, even in the global financial system. Yes, I'm coming back to you. Yes. So even the Central Bank of Nigeria is not controlled by the federal government. It's controlled by the Federal Reserve in America. So the Federal Reserve in America can give your Central Bank government a directive, and your president will give him another directive. You follow that directive. But like I said, it's another conversation for another day. Let's not too drag.
My question is, I think the receipts actually follow up this budget. Sometimes we do have this, though it's a conspiracy whereby we believe that the government inflates these budgets in order, because we see we need 40 billion for education, whereas this money are not really, don't really go into those sectors. So are they really, let's say, sectors or movements which actually checkmates to, or aside from the National Assembly that approved this budget, to scrutinize this budget to see if truly that is the amount needed. Because going through this budget, we do not really see how much the government will pay themselves after.
After what?
After paying all the other things, after the expenditure.
So now, apart from salary, you don't see the other ones. Because the payment is embedded in.
So that's the issue. That's the issue here. Because if we had a committee that can make these things, now they don't pay themselves high, like the Nigeria and the legislature is said to be the highest paid worldwide. So these are things that also inflate our budget. And at the same time, we keep borrowing to pay for services we don't really need, to pay for vehicles, convoys which we procure them. You understand? So these things, the question here is, do we really have a committee scrutinize aside from it? Because it is saying that leaving these things in the hands of the government alone would not change anything. We'll only repeat the same cycle.
All right. So I get your question. So I'll ask I'll just share a scenario. So you have money, right? And you want to build a house, your personal house, your dream home. And you're not an architect, right? You're not an engineer and all of that. You definitely look for a contractor, right? To handle it. So when you get the budget of the house and you give the contractor money, what do you do? Follow up, right? To ensure that he's buying the things of the right quality, he's buying them. So the scenario here is that you see public funds, it is our funds. If you begin to see public funds the way you see your private, the way you know allow contractor to cheat you, you build your house. or to do substandard work for you. It's the same way you're supposed to ensure that those you are put in office are utilizing your money. It's because we think public funds is another person's money. So we treat it, you get. So in answering your question, until you perform your civic duties, rules, and responsibility, your rights can never be activated. You understand? So it means that when you say a committee, you don't need a committee. We need you to begin to ask the kind of questions you're asking now and begin to see how you can begin to take action, one, as an individual, two, you begin to network with like minds that are also pursuing the same thing and build the needed coalition that can put enough pressure on government to do the right thing. Because ideally, if by what the Constitution has said, the legislators perform their role as legislators, we don't need civil society. So true. You understand? But the reality is that globally, representative democracy has failed. So now the focus is on participatory democracy. Because your legislator goes there and at the end of the day is either cornered because they don't even have the autonomy to do what they are supposed to do. So they can't even protect your interests. So the only avenue we have now to ensure that these things are addressed is when we begin to build the needed social capital, social mobilization among ourselves. And I believe that is one of the reasons why this training is happening. To say that can Yali begin to say that no, as a group, we want to pick interest in what is happening in education, what is happening in health, and begin to engage government on it. Or we want to pick interest in how government is investing in the youth demography and begin to put interest in it. And the political dynamics is changing because the age structure has changed. There's this book I recommend to anybody that's interested. It's called New Power. Just look for that book. You understand that the power dynamics has completely changed. And I'll just give you a peek into that. What you saw, and this is not a political statement, but I'll call it political movement. What you saw with the Libyan movement is not about the person called political. It is a new generation of young people that are looking for outlet to express themselves. Obi only became their face. They don't care about him, they don't even understand what he's saying. It's not like, I listen to him, it's not like he's an orator that you will say, I listen to this man and I'm inspired. I've met his followers to ask them, what is his last? Explain to me. They don't know. Their own is obedience, consumption to your production of what. You understand? But what? They are now looking for the channel